on the dot, and I'm going to call to order the January 30th regular meeting of the Utility Service Board. On the agenda is, the first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. Are there any changes or additions to the previous minutes? If none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item is to approve the various claims that we have. So the first one are payables that were from the general ledger on for December 28th. Are there any question on the payables that total $255,965.85?
Let me
Kurt?
find it here. Where's the one about the, I didn't mark it, but it's the camera we have to.
That's actually on this particular one, yes. So,
Jack Doheny Companies. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly.
what, and your question?
Page
Well,
2.
my question is, we talked about this before. I mean, I think that was the vandalism
That is correct.
issue. And I just wonder, do we have insurance to cover vandalism? I mean, it's not really theft, but it's,
Insurance, we did get a claim, we did get $65,000 from our insurance company for that camera.
oh. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and that will show, that won't show on any of our payables because that's something that has been reimbursed to us. Well, good. Thank you.
It is at the bank.
All right.
Good to know that we're covered for those kind of things.
Second question on that. Yeah, I was going to ask the same question. I thought, there's no way this is insured. Do we have coverage on all our assets, or are there some things that are excluded?
Risk on that one. I'm sure at some level, but I don't know what that is.
Okay, that's great. Thanks.
Any other question about the December 28th payables? If there aren't any, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. The next item on the agenda are the standard invoices with a total of $723,383.97. Are there any questions on the standard invoices? I have a question if there aren't any others from the board. On page 1, from the City of Bloomington, our set rate on the vehicle parts and repairs, can you remind me, do we pay that quarterly? Oh, it is a monthly.
Yeah,
It is a monthly charge.
It's a set rate that's based on some average of 3-year usage in a point system.
Okay.
So there's a set rate every year, and then we pay for the fuel as well every month.
Okay. Are there any other questions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item are the utility bills for a total of $3,022.58. Are there any questions on the utility bills? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. We also have a second utility bill payment for the payables from December 31st. Are there any questions on those? That total is $200,878.05. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next claim is for the wire transfers, and that total is $405,456.13. Are there any questions about the wire transfers? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item are the customer refunds for a total of $8,872.37. Are there any questions about the customer refunds? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, everyone. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda, and that is Vic.
This is Vic Kelson, Utilities Director. Happy to bring forward the consent agenda for this week, which totals $9,907. The first item is to Hoosier Window Technologies. That's $907 for window tinting in the front lobby. And item B is to Kate Rasek for $9,000, and this is grant application consulting. This is a grant writer. I'd like to ask first if any board members would like to consider any of these separately. Hearing none, if there's no opposition, the consent agenda will be approved as recommended by staff. Hearing no opposition, the consent agenda is approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Vic. Item number 5 is a bid opening. We're ready off for that one. This is a bid opening for the public invitation to bid on the East Tank improvements. That's Dan Hudson's going to be involved with that. Do we have a recording sheet to record the bids? And nope, okay. We're good. I can write them,
For the record, I'm Dan Hudson, the Capital Project Manager for CBU, and I'm happy to have a bid opening. We had a lot of interest in this project. This is for the East Tank Water Tower located on 444, just south of 44, on the west side of the road. It includes repainting, recoating, adding stiffeners to the top, a new ladder that meets OSHA regs. I believe there's some electrical work, small amount of electrical work, and a new mixer put in. So it's a total rehab of the tank. We have, I think, 13 to go through, so it's going to be a little time here
All right.
to do this. And Phil is going to help me open them.
So you're saying we're going to have choices on this one?
Yes, yeah, which is unique compared to some of the other projects.
Estimate?
Oh, yes, I was going to give that. The engineering estimate is $1,098,900.00.
Thank you.
$1,980,900 and $980,900. 1980900.
Yeah, 1098900.
Gotcha. Thank you.
And the location's just off 446,
Yeah, I
south of
see.
46.
Yeah, not the 46.
Yeah.
Who is this? It's right here. Oh, okay, all right. Utility Service, Inc., and the bid. Hang on. It's turned around. Is 632,300 and 0 cents. Who's the company here? I can't. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, this is D&M Painting Corporation, and it's $990,840 and 0 cents. This is TMI Coatings. a bid of $1,246,000. E&L Contractors, Inc. With a bid of $820,000. G&L Tank at $850,000. Viking Painting LLC. $884,000. Currens Construction Service, that's Currens. Currens Construction Service at $856,450. Worldwide Industries Incorporated at $758,410.00. LC United Painting at $939,000. American Suncraft Company, Inc. $1,140,000. Oh, okay. Seven Brothers Painting, Inc. $868,000. and 0 cents. Do you have the front of this?
Yeah, it just came in.
Oh, okay, yeah. Separated out. Pittsburgh Tank and Tower Maintenance Company, Inc., $998,750. Oh, Jose Aguardo,
It's O&J Coating.
oh, it is? Oh, I was reading up there. O&J Coating, excuse me. $850,000 and 0 cents. That's 14. I guess we have 15 down. One more. Yeah, 14, oh, okay. This is, I guess that's it. Classic Protection Coating, Inc. at $981,500 and 0 cents. Looks like we have quite a range here, and we will evaluate that and come back next board meeting with a recommendation.
Great. Thank you, and thank you to everyone who submitted a bid. All right, our next item is item number 6, request for approval of a letter of engagement with Denton's Brigham Greenebaum LLP, and that's Vic.
Vic Helson, Utilities Director. We are bringing this item in preparation for consideration of the possible project at the Winston Thomas property. If we're going to engage in a project like that, ultimately we will need to sell bonds to pay for it. And if we're going to sell bonds, we have to go to IURC first for permission to go, for permission to take on additional debt. We're beginning to do the analysis portion of that, so we'll be working with Denton's. Our plan is to work with Denton's and Crow as we have before on rate cases. This would be a financing-only rate, a petition. It's not a rate case, it's a financing-only case. Those are pretty uncommon and a lot less involved than a traditional rate case. So this agreement is to retain Dave McGimsey, who's been our attorney for these kinds of things in the past. So this does not commit us to building anything or doing anything. It's just part of the process we would have to go through before we can actually do anything related to the selling of bonds. We have to get permission from the commission. Are there any questions?
Are there any questions?
We've been approaching this incrementally, and we paid for the new floodplain mapping, and we were told that that was something that we would need to do anyway for other purposes. And this is very specific to the service center, and it's our first, I would say, exclusively service center purchase, if you can consider the floodplain and the other master planning something separate. So it would just be, I would feel comfortable, more comfortable about it if the board took a position on the service center itself at some point and took that up for discussion.
And I was, and to that end, we thought that was at the point where we've got to do the financial analysis before we can do anything. So doing the financial analysis and developing a plan for an item to take to the IURC would be the opportunity to say that's the first thing we would have to vote on that had to do with pursuing the project itself. So that's, At that point, we would know where we stood in terms of the financial analysis.
That was going to be my second question about that, because we asked for that. So I didn't understand that this would
This-
include that analysis.
Well, this is part of it. The process of doing that analysis related to the financing, there's two parts. There's the legal part that has to do with going to the commission, and there's the financial part. And is that one on this agenda or the
Crow's on
next?
this one, it's next.
And then Crow is the next one on this agenda, which would be the financial consultant.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Jim?
Not on the board, but these requests for approvals, are there any financial impacts involved with each of these?
Time and material, it's a contract to pay for the professional services.
Okay, I mean, I was just wondering, because
Yeah.
the board's going to have to vote on it, and I don't see anything.
Yeah.
But, okay, thank you.
All right. Anything else? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. The next one is for the request to approve the agreement with Crow, and that is Matt.
It's,
Similar to what Vic said, it's the financial analysis part of the case going to the IURC to possibly sell bonds for the Winston Thomas facility.
Are there any questions on this? I have one on this one. So Matt, I noticed on yours, it is separated between water, wastewater, and stormwater, but on the previous one, it's not. Is there a reason why that this one was separated out?
No, it shouldn't be, actually.
The other one should be?
actually, it should.
Hi,
Oh, okay.
Chris Wheeler, City Legal. The Denton Bingham Greenebaum is only for the water side because as to expenditures for water utilities, those have to go to the IURC. So the cost associated with taking a petition to the IURC for approval of the water side's expenditure for its part in the administrative building has to get approved that. So that's why it's only being paid for out of water, because storm and wastewater doesn't go to the IURC.
But
Makes sense?
This one does.
But as far as Crow, it's doing a financial analysis and its impact on all three utilities, not just water.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, Jeff?
So for this financial analysis, will this include any revenues that we would get for this facility that we're in right now?
Talking with the administration about that as part of that.
So that will be a part of the Crow
Yeah,
report
we
and
really
analysis.
need to know that, because in order to know how much money we would need to bond, we need to know how much we would get for this property as well. There's,
And might there be different alternatives as discussed previously in the report?
yeah, we would be, and that's a lot of conversation with the administration, with the controller's office to figure out, would that be a lump sum that they would pay towards the project, or would that be a lease agreement that there'd be a monthly amount coming to the utilities, and that would all have to be sorted out as part of this analysis. And we'll be talking with them about it.
It would be good to know our options there
Yeah.
and not just be constrained by those offered, but rather those that are available.
Sure.
And then we would negotiate on those rather than just looking at the ones that are offered by the city.
Well, we can't lease the property. I don't know that we would be able to lease the property to anybody but the city, or sell the property to anybody but the city.
Still, we have a position, and it's the, the utilities position in negotiating with the
Certainly.
city. All I'm saying is to have them state their only set of options, and maybe it's just one, that's different than all possible options that could be negotiated, I believe.
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
But I can't answer that question at this time.
If anyone's following me.
We don't own the dirt under the building.
Understood.
We paid for the building.
Yeah.
So our limit, we will have to figure out a fair price for what the property's worth. And that's what we would be working.
Through outright sale
Sure,
or lease or
Precisely.
something else that maybe we can't conceive of right here.
Precisely, that's right.
Jim?
Yeah, Vic, would their consulting include possible uses of all that land that's over there? Because there's a lot of land that would be available in addition to the service building itself.
We did the master plan for the southern half of the property, the half of the property that would be dedicated to utilities. The northern half of the property we did not plan for, but there is a portion of the property that might be usable for other activities, and we'll have to look into that as well.
Okay, but Crow would not be involved in,
No, that we
Those-
did the math, we wouldn't, we're not considering anything for the rest of the property. We're assuming that everything south of that berm where the PCBs are buried would be dedicated to utilities and the future of utilities development.
okay, thanks.
Any further questions? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the request for the agreement with Crow?
So moved.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, so for the next couple of items, we have several requests for some chemical purchases. And before we go into those agenda items, Chris Wheeler is going to give us some information on why these are coming to us in this format, because it's a little different than what we've usually done.
Hi, Chris Wheeler with City Legal. Yeah, so the next 7 contracts on the agenda deal with the purchase of chemicals. Ordinarily, this board wouldn't see contracts for purchases of products, but in this situation, we are now seeing these chemical purchases because historically, as we buy these chemicals, we usually in the last several years, we've been purchasing them through a reverse auction, and the contract or the agreement for the purchase has been done through that reverse auction, and they have run for, I think, a period of 3 years. But over the period of the last agreement for purchases of product, we had COVID and all of the supply line issues that are happening, and the purchase of product like these chemicals has become extremely volatile. And there was a great deal of discussion and pushback by the suppliers as to the price that they had locked in with us. But the contract wasn't really a very strong languaged agreement through Everbridge and the company that we used for reverse auctioning. So we decided this year to actually draft up purchase agreements, and that's what these are, and have the companies sign these contracts, which lock them in a little tighter to the price that they're agreeing to supply these products to us for. And they're only good for 1 year, so we're not locked in for quite as long a time. And then we will do another reverse auction at the end of next year. So this reverse auction took place in December, and we're now getting the agreements out the door to start buying our supplies through through that reverse auction price. And so that's what this next 7 contracts will be for. And I thought, having explained that as a sort of preamble, then maybe we could move through these next 7 contracts pretty quickly. I'd be happy to answer questions if I can with regards to the reverse auction, and then we could move into the contracts themselves. Yes?
Are these prices likely to be acceptable to the vendors, or is there going to be some negotiation?
These prices were already offered and accepted through the reverse auction, and these are simply the contracts that support that decision. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Megan?
I'm just not familiar with a reverse auction. Could you please explain that?
Well, I don't know that I can very
Okay.
well. It's a statutory provision that allows us to make a purchase in this way. It allows us to put out the idea that we want to buy these products and let the people, the vendors who want to bid on them, put their bids out there. They don't know who's bidding, but they can see the price as the bid moves along and decide whether they want to try and bid on it at a certain price and value. So the price starts at a certain number and starts to drop as the bidders bid on it and try to lowball each other. So that, I think that's where
It
the
starts
reverse.
at the high
Yeah,
amount
it starts high and goes
down.
low.
Okay, thank you.
That's interesting. This is what they do in the Netherlands at their flower auctions.
Okay.
And it's a hoot to be there because, you know, you want it, but on the other hand, maybe I could get it cheaper, and it's a hoot. If you ever go to the Netherlands, go to a flower auction.
Yeah, I haven't had the opportunity to actually sit in and watch the reverse auction play out, but I'm told that it's pretty interesting to see the procedure play. I'm hoping I'll be able to watch it this year when December rolls around. So, we good? Yes.
I'm assuming the participants in these auctions are from all different companies, organizations, places around the country, or is this something that's just offered in Indiana?
No, I think they're coming from all over the country. Yes, I think you're right about that.
Okay.
So are we ready to?
New ways of negotiating costs.
Yeah, you just don't see that this happens, but it happens every couple of years. Now we're going to be doing it every year. All right, so I have a list here, and I think it follows in an order that was shown on the agenda, but the first one is for the purchase of aluminum sulfate for the Monroe Water Plant. We're purchasing from Chemtrade Chemicals Corp., and the cost is $620 per dry ton.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved?
Motion is passed. The next item? Oh, we have to vote, sorry. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
Next is Jacoby Carbons, Inc., and they have several, but the first one that they have is for powdered activated carbon at Monroe Water Plant in the amount of $3.84 per pound.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
The next one is Water Solutions Unlimited, Inc., and it's sodium thiosulfite at Monroe Water Plant. The cost is $6.50 per gallon.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved?
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Also, Water Solutions Unlimited, Inc., this is for sodium permanganate at Monroe Water Plant, and the cost is $17 per gallon.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved?
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
And this one is also, this one's JCI Jones Chemicals, Inc., for sodium hypochlorite at Monroe Water Plant. The cost is $2.13 per gallon.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
The next one is JCI Jones Chemicals, Inc., for sodium hydroxide at Monroe Water Plant. The cost is 0.295 cents per pound.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved?
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion passes.
Next is Univar Solutions USA, Inc., and this is for hydrofluorosilicic acid at Monroe Water Plant. Hydrofluorosilicic acid at Monroe Water Plant for $5,370.77 per ton.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved?
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
And last is JCI Jones Chemicals again. This one is for sodium hypochlorite at Dillman Wastewater Treatment Plant. The cost is $2.13 per gallon.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I think that covered all of them, Chris.
That did it. I don't know if there are any more still coming down the pike, but that's all we had on the agenda tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a request for approval of READI grant from the Regional Opportunity Initiatives, Inc., and that's Phil Peden.
Good evening, board members. Phil Peden with the Engineering Department. This is for a $1.9 million grant that I first want to just say, give credit to Alex Crowley and the Economic Development Group, their team. We appreciate their efforts in helping to obtain this grant and working with Lisa Abbott, a grant administrator, to obtain this. And so coordinating with us and Catalent through that process. But this is a result of Catalent's expansion for the COVID vaccinations and our own team member, Jason Winning, with the pre-treatment side, working with them, they had to renew some of their pre-treatment permits. And in doing so, we looked at their flows they were going to be adding to our sewer, recognizing that there could be a capacity issue there. We went through some calculations and analysis of that sewer basin to determine where we felt like the impact could end up causing an issue for us. And through that process, we determined about 1,500 feet of 18-inch sewer that was undersized for that additional flow, as well as some lining and some manhole rehabilitation. So that's the scope of the grant. We're also going to have them examine through modeling and calculations the 24-inch that's downstream of the site to just see if it's going to be impacted as well. It's larger. We feel like the capacity's there, but we wanted to have the engineers check that by modeling it. So we're going to do that as well. Our component in the process is project management, and our new team member for our capital projects coordinator, Kevin White, who's in the room, he's going to be helping with project management. And so here to answer any questions.
Jim?
So this is for 4 years?
40 years?
For 4 years?
Oh,
I believe it.
until 2026 is when we have to complete the project by December
So I was going to
2026.
ask, is it expandable? I mean, many grant projects can be expanded, or is this like a hard date?
I believe that's a hard date, but we expect to be done in 2024. So
Okay.
we don't see that as a strict, challenging deadline.
Okay.
So
Any questions down here? Go ahead, Jeff?
So our commitment's project management, and are we then, is there a contractor in mind to do the work?
yeah, so we're going through the process of procuring an engineer first, and that does have to go through the federal guidelines when you're using grant funds. So we have to do a request for qualifications or request for proposals for that. So we've actually published that, and we expect to be receiving those.
So we're just following the standard process for any other project.
Correct.
We'll do the inspection at the end and take ownership and all those steps.
Correct.
Okay. It's great.
Miss, where's the location of the project?
Okay, so Catalent, or the
Oh,
old
Catalent.
Cook Pharmaca,
Yeah.
it's really between their building and Rogers Street is where the main component is.
Got it, thanks.
Any other questions? I'm hopeful that as the board could get a report on this maybe once a year, just to let us know the status of finances and how things are going with it. It would be important for us to just be to hear what's going on with the grant.
Certainly, we can do that. We'll be back in front of the board with the contracts for the engineering and the contractor, so we can provide updates at
Great.
that time.
It's always nice when we can get money.
Yes.
Good job.
One last question.
Sure.
Sorry, yeah, real good job. What's the additional capacity that's needed in terms of, million gallons per day? I mean, or hundreds of thousands of gallons per day? Or what is it, and what was the impetus for going to an 18-inch line?
I don't have those numbers right in front of me. I'm sorry. I do have those numbers. They're in spreadsheet, but I don't. It's really the difference between an 18 and a 24-inch pipe, which is, it's in cubic feet per second, and I
Okay.
don't remember the exact.
But in terms of like impact at Dillman, right, it would be negligible in terms of our capacity. This was just to resize the line to be able to accept their waste, not a big increment that would cause some new need at the plant or
That's
for
correct.
our capacity.
That's
Okay.
correct.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Megan.
So, did Catalent have any financial contribution, or will they, to this project since it's for them?
I don't believe so. I think the grant covered all the
Okay.
costs.
And were any of their representatives part of applying for the grant?
They were.
Okay.
Yeah, they had input during the process to, before we applied.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? If not, is there a motion to approve the REDEI grant from the Regional Opportunity Initiatives, Inc.?
So moved?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And then we have Chris Wheeler back up with a request for approval of agreement with,
Kokosing.
thank you, Industrial Incorporated.
Yeah, this agreement is a last-minute add to the agenda, and we're going to be coming at it a little bit backwards. Ordinarily, I would like for the contractor to have already reviewed and signed the agreement, had all of the approvals done through the city before we bring it to the board for the board to review and approve. We haven't quite made it all the way through that process, but we wanted to bring it to the board tonight versus waiting another 2 weeks to bring it back because, as I understand it, the repairs that need to happen pretty quick. So what still has to be done, even after the board reviews and approves tonight, hopefully approves tonight, is for the company to still submit its AAP, its Affirmative Action Plan, for review and approval by the city, and then also for the Controller's Office and the Mayor's Office to review and approve the language as well. So if the board would, upon its motion, make it contingent upon approval of AAP and review and approval by Mayor and Controller, then I would feel really comfortable having the board go ahead and review and approve tonight.
Are there any questions? Okay.
That'll probably make clear why we wanted to bring this. And by the way, the AAP came during this meeting, yes. Here's what happened about a week ago today, or a week ago yesterday. It was discovered that we had a flood in the basement of the pump building at the head of the Dillman plant. So the wet well, the water comes from the city, the wastewater comes into that wet well. The building that houses the pumps that pump that water into the plant had a basement full of water. The wet well is actually broken into two pieces, and one side of it, each side has 3 pumps. Once we got an emergency contract to have a contractor come in here with a pump to pump the water out so that we could see what was going on, it was found that the suction line to one of the pumps had a large hole in it, and water was pouring out of that hole. That was the source of the flooding. So we were able to, and these pipes are 40 years old. It's a 30-inch pipe coming into the pump. We were able to get a full seal clamp installed by a contractor to make it so the pipe isn't leaking now. And the plant was never disrupted by this, except for a lot of stinky water in the basement of the building. So the purpose of this contract is to replace the bad pipe on this line so that we don't have to risk that it's going to fail further in the near future. So the purpose of this is just to replace that pipe. One of the issues, of course, with a situation like this, you want to do it as, it's not an emergency, but it's urgent that we get this fixed. And the lead time on the materials is about 3 or 4 weeks. So, but we don't think we're going to have another big leak, but we do have operational plans for how to deal with it. If it does leak again, we have the temporary pump still in place. So if we did get another, a large rain event or something and we started to have another leak, we would be able to pump the level down temporarily while we're waiting for this to be done.
Go ahead, Megan.
Okay, so I think this is like offshoot of the event that happened. So we have a temporary pump in place in case this would happen again. But in basements of other, or that facility or other facilities that we have, do we have pumps that would automatically, or is this just too much water that wouldn't have worked with that, like in homes for our basements? Or I think, was it James or Phil went door to door and checking in neighborhoods and things and asking our customers that? So do we have that for our own buildings, I guess?
We do have some pumps in the buildings that have foundations that can flood or basements. Yes, we do have sump pumps where we need them.
Okay.
This really isn't a sump pump thing.
Okay.
Yeah, this was pumping the level in the wet well low enough that it didn't flow into the pipe.
Okay.
'Cause-
So even if a sump pump wouldn't have taken care of this?
It would not have
Okay,
taken care of
that's, I
this.
guess, what I'm getting
And
at.
we do have a sump pump in that building.
Okay.
And it wouldn't have done this.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's a good question, though.
Any other questions?
The
Is that-
contract, the expiration date is 2033. Is that how long the warranty will be on their work, or why are we? June 23rd, 2033.
Is it in the contract,
It's
or is that the
on this
record destruction date?
expiration date of contract?
Yeah, that's a typo on the cover sheet. That's not what the expiration date is in the contract itself.
Okay.
It's June of 2023.
23, okay.
Yeah. That's just a typo on the cover memo.
Okay. And then I have a question. So this $30,000, is this to pay for work that has already been done, or this is $30,000 to take care of this issue?
This is $30,000 to take care of this issue.
Okay.
The cost of the temporary fix was $3,000, is that right? Yeah. It was
Okay.
$3,000, and we did that as an emergency contract. We'll be bringing that soon.
Perfect.
But we didn't, once we had it so it wasn't leaking, we didn't see it as being an emergency anymore. So we did go through the normal process of soliciting bids to get, or soliciting pricing from multiple vendors, and did the normal contracting process.
Okay, so, Chris, just to make sure on this, we know that we did get the AAP, that
It's
is
been
now.
received, but it
and-
has
Hasn't
not
been
been sent
reviewed.
up to the city for review and
Okay,
approval
so,
yet.
so that has not been sent up, and then the other approval that we're missing is,
We want the controller's office and the
Control-
mayor's office to review and approve. That, you
Okay.
don't see that part of the equation. That all happens before contracts come to this board.
okay.
But tonight, we're operating in a kind of a reverse order.
I just want to make sure when we put the motion on the table, I've got it all
Yeah.
set.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Kirk.
I'll make the motion if we're ready.
Okay, so we're going to make a motion to approve the request for the approval of the agreement with Coco Sing Industrial, Inc. on the contingent upon the approval of the affirmative action. Oh, sorry.
You
Oh.
can get the motion. and
Okay.
then I have a question.
Okay, the affirmative action plan, and then also approval from the mayor's and controller's office.
So moved.
Second?
I have a question.
Question?
Yeah, Vic, obviously, anything that's an emergency, you just do, right? The board doesn't, you don't call us and say, hey, we got something to do. Do those emergency expenses and incidents then get reported to the board?
We'll be coming back with the contract to cover that
So
afterwards,
it will
yeah.
be, okay.
Yes, and when we have an emergency like that, we have an approval process that has to go, it goes to the division leader, then it goes to me, and then it goes to the controller. So we can't do an emergency purchase request or an emergency contract without approval of the controller.
So there is a motion on the table. Is there say, all those in favor say aye? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Is there any old business from staff? Old business from the board? New,
Okay, sorry.
old business from the board?
Like I think 2 meetings ago, we talked about the tower site. by Tri-North with the lease with the BHA. I just wondered if there was any follow-up from that.
It turns out that that property is not, the deed to that property is not held by the Utility Service Board. So it went to the Board of Public Works for their consideration.
I wonder parliamentary-wise if we need to take it off the table and
No, if it sits on, it can sit on the table
just
forever.
stay on the table forever.
Yep.
Okay,
It's
and
on
that
the-
was from the January 3rd meeting that we had that?
Yeah, the memo was December 29th, yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Megan, for remembering that.
If you do take it from the table, we can withdraw the request, but it's just, yeah, no
Okay.
need to do that.
We have our answers. How's
Yeah.
that? Okay, is there any new business from the board? I actually have two items that I'd like to bring up for the board. I do think it would be of interest and probably help if we could perhaps organize a board retreat. I think it's important for us to make sure we understand all the rules and procedures and things that are going on. And we are going to have a new board member, I believe.
I haven't gotten an email about it.
None of us have, but it's on the interwebs. So,
Okay.
you know. Anyway, so I would like to perhaps try to get some answer when that new person comes on board so that we might all try to find a date that would get together. And I'd ask staff to help us with doing what is that thing that we do? Not doodle, where we.
A poll?
Yeah, a doodle poll, sorry. So anyway, so if that's, I think it's been a while since we've done that. We've got some new faces, we've got some old faces, and we're gonna have a very new face, so it might be good for all of us to get together and just kind of go over some things. The other thing is, this was left for us here, our conflict of interest. It has been asked that we please get this turned in tonight as well for any board members that are not, I don't think any board members that are not here, I think we're all here. So if we can just make sure you fill that out and turn that in, that would be great. And that's what I have for new business from the board, new business from staff.
Yes, first of all, I'll start with some personnel changes. I know we have a couple of assistant directors here who have new people you've not met, so take it.
Oh, I know I mentioned Kevin White earlier, but Kevin White's our new capital projects coordinator, and then we also have a new engineering technician, Matt Dabberton. And we're just so excited to have a couple new members to the engineering team. They've been on board for a little while. They hit the ground running, and they're doing a great job. So I want to introduce them tonight.
Matt, where are you from?
I'm from Sandusky, Ohio.
Okay,
Just finished up grad school down here in Bloomington.
excellent. And where are you from?
Here.
From here, all right. Well, great. Well, welcome aboard.
And Kat, were you able to introduce Liz the last time, or do you want to do that now?
I've been introduced twice.
Okay, so,
Sure.
okay. Nobody gets a third introduction.
Okay.
As you mentioned, we do, a new board member has been appointed. I don't know the details yet, so, but we'll let you know what we know. There was a grant writer on the consent agenda, and I just wanted to say a word about that. As you know, we're entering a time when there will be lots of federal money and state money available for doing projects related to utilities and infrastructure. And we want to get out in front of that. And there is an application deadline of April 1st for the first round of funding related to lead service line replacement. So we're working now with our experts and talking with a grant writer to help us write a grant application for monies related to water main or lead service line replacement. So this is the first go-round. There's around $40 million this year statewide, so we're going to take a shot at it. We anticipate we're going to be doing a lot more grant applications in the future, so we want to build in some expertise. We think we can do that with hiring a part-time consultant to help us with the actual grant development. Okay, and then the last item is there have been some complaints, and I'm sure board members have heard some of these complaints about sewer lateral strikes by fiber installers. At this point, we don't have any proof that's a particular firm or a particular group of people that are causing the problem. Sewer laterals do get struck when fairly often by installation of fiber conduit because there's really no way to find them. They don't have locate wires and they're made of clay or plastic, so they're very difficult to locate. We have had conversations in-house about any information that we might be able to provide to the installers to give them a little bit more understanding of how deep they might find sewer infrastructure. But as I said, it's a very complicated problem. Those are all private firms that are doing that work. So, and they're responsible for strikes. So anything that comes our way, we do refer them either to one of the contractors that are actually doing the work. There are actually 2 large fiber installation projects going on in the city right now. So it's something we're aware of, and it's something we're trying to provide all the information we can to help prevent. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Are there any subcommittee reports? I don't think we've had any meetings. Any additional staff reports? Okay. Any petitions or communications from the public? No. If not, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Thank you.